Hello. Let's try it again. Something happened in the Wi-Fi cut. It's Honeybee Henderson, and I am reporting in like a newscaster. I'm reporting in from Amman, Jordan. I'm in one of my favorite places on the planet, in Amman, Jordan. Who knew? It was one of my favorite places. But I've arrived home to be received with my beloveds, my beloved family, and resting in that space feels so good. I've just been reflecting on the past week and what I have been experiencing. This week has been full of ups and downs, and I really found myself in a deep, dark place and in a deep hole. And I let myself be there. I watched it. I was angry. I was frustrated. I was hormonal. I was lashing out to loved ones, and the whole shebang was happening. And I'm just watching it as it's moving through me, instead of judging myself through this, knowing that at some point I would navigate my way out of it, but really allowing myself to be where I was. So this is partly what I wanted to talk about today, is just connecting back to the energy of grace, which I have some experience of this. What it is essentially is being in your center, finding your center, very peaceful place inside, that place that's never disturbed, that place that is never shaken by the outside world, never shaken by the inner emotions. There is a place that we continue to navigate back into ourselves, into our center. And what I noticed for myself this last week was that I was really hooked on Facebook. I've gotten rid of my television, I don't know, 15 years ago, so news hasn't been in my psyche for that until very recently, until I got really into social media. And now I'm finding the same addiction to the news that I had in the past with television on social media. And I was getting pissed. I was getting angry. I was feeling very tired of humanity, feeling tired of the things that are going on, and essentially just watching myself fall, because I was buying into these outside stories, that somehow these stories were part of my experience. I was feeding that fury and that fire. And grace is always there for us. Grace is the one thing that we can count on. A very dear sister of mine said once that grace always trumps karma. So karma is the law of balance. Karma is the law of what we have come in to learn and what we need to balance out. So if, for example, I teach the children this, it's like, if you're nice to people, then you get nice back. If you're mean to people, you get that same energy back. So for me, that's what karma is. It's a balancing. But grace is something that will always bring you back home, and it will always trump any balancing, because it's essentially what lives in the center of our heart, this grace that's always available to us. So what I was noticing last week was that my focus was on the negative. My focus was involving myself in conversations with friends and family members that was about politics and the state of the world and how everything's going to hell. And I'm a reflector from the human design, so I was just amplifying all this like negativity, and spending time by myself on the plane yesterday really helped me to shift and remember to come back to center, to find my practices, to remember that this grace, this place of peace, is always inside of us. And we can get lost, because that's part of the journey, is getting lost and traveling in these, different ways. But then coming back is the part where grace is always given to us. Also, I wanted to remind us that it's very important right now. I'm looking at my notes. So very important for us right now to really honor where we are, and to say no when we need to say no to outside engagements, saying no to outside conversations that feel like maybe they're pulling you down or in a negative way, saying no to really these things that will pull us, and saying more of a sacred yes to yourself. So yes, it may mean that we're not going to as many social events, or we're not participating in the ways that we used to, but it's really an honoring of what you need to do to feed your soul. The second thing I wanted to say is food is a very important piece of the puzzle. So I noticed that this weekend with family, I was eating kind of out of my habit, and still plant-based, but also that's right, David. Uncle Dave. He says, I do not debate politics and I do not argue. No one really knows what is going on, and this is the truth. And as we're finding out, we are being fed certain things through these news stories. We're being fed a very biased viewpoint of what's going on the planet. So the food that we intake, whether it's from watching something or the actual food that we eat, the people that we surround ourselves with, this is all very important. Like I said, I was with family and I was eating kind of out of my balance and out of my diet, and eating probably more sugar than in the past, and it has a big effect on us. So pay attention to what we're feeding ourselves. And you know, Dave is right. We don't really know what's going on in the world. Politics are politics, and they are doing things to manipulate us and to get us to believe a certain way and to fuel our fires. And really, the truth is that change happens right in front of you. Change is what happens when you offer a helping hand to a friend or a neighbor. This is what will change our world and our planet. So pay attention to the foods you're eating. Pay attention to what you're feeding yourself as far as the news is concerned, and conversations that you're having. I can't read what that says. Oh, what are you focusing on? So as simple as this is the recipe for life. Like, what are you focusing your energy on? Mr. Rogers has a really amazing quote about when he was a child, his mother would say, like, when you're watching the news and there's scary things going on, always look for the helpers. So focus on the positive, focus on the people, focus on the ones who are going out and helping. And even if you have the capacity inside of yourself, shift from your energy from taking to giving. When we give in a place of overflow, it really can help to uplift our consciousness and to help raise our vibration. When we can sustain a higher vibratory field, then we start to attract more of what we're seeking. We start to attract more positive influences in our lives. The last thing I want to share, it's a short and sweet one, is find your practice. So for about 2 weeks for myself, I found myself just busy kind of getting ready to come to the Middle East, and then we're going to India and then over to Mexico, and there's a lot of planning and pre-production that's involved. And I gave way to my practices. And just in one morning, this morning, I committed to practicing again. So I woke up, and the first thing I did this morning was I set my alarm for 20 minutes, and I just sat in silence. I sat in silence and I just felt my body, and I allowed myself to drop into that feeling of grace. I did a meditation where I anchored grace deep into my body, down into the earth, and then lifted it up through my cells and opened it up. And this powerful visualization that came to me felt like it was going to feed my entire day. So now it's 4 o'clock where I am. And I do feel like this has made quite a bit of difference. I also chose to not drink caffeine today, which was something that I had been participating in the past couple of weeks. So when you start to have a really clean diet like I have, you notice very subtly what these things do for us. Caffeine can really take us off center, can take us back into the place of that duality. It spikes our energy levels high and then it drops it down low. So I'm looking for a more sustainable way to keep my energy so that I can constantly tap into the state of grace. Um, Singing, chanting, dancing, painting, allow yourself to be creative, allow yourself to be messy. But when you tap into the energy of grace, that's what it is. It's creativity, it's Divine Mother really coming into form through you. So make sure that you stay clean, make sure that you pay attention to what you're focusing on. Um, Pay attention to the helpers. You know, there's a lot of natural disasters happening right now. California, our beautiful California is on fire again, and there's a lot of helpers. There's a lot of helpers coming out and moving beyond their comfort zone to find grace, to find grace in the situation that feels like devastation. Here in Jordan, we've had 2 flash floods in the last month that have killed 35 people. So finding the helpers in this situation, finding the shelters that are helping those families or helping the people rebuild their lives. These aspects of life are really important. And I'm speaking from experience because last week I'm sure I was a total jerk. I know for sure with my family that was we had a beautiful and wild scene together, but now I'm really coming back to myself, coming back to my center. And it's okay when you feel like you've hit your edge to say, no, I need to take some time for myself. Please know that that's always okay and that's always available for you. And when we want to connect into the energy of grace, sometimes we need to just feel it on our own so then we can move out into the world. So I hope this is helpful for you all. Hi, my Jordanian loves. I'm coming to see you soon. I'm going to see some of y'all soon. Laura, I hope we get to hang out and see each other. And I'm grateful for you. And we'll see you all soon. I hope this is helpful. Wake Up Wednesdays, back again. I'm doing my best to stay in grace and just wanted to share that with you all. Sending you much peace, aloha, and namaste. Be a helper. Be a helper. Focus on the helpers. Okay, guys, gals, focus on the helpers. I love you.